Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894. I'm Darragh. I've got Joe with me here today for our 2021-22 Premier League predictions. Let's get right into it. Right, so first things first, getting to our bottom four. Me and Joe have gone fairly similar, except for one team, so I'll let him take it away on this
one. Well, in last, I think most people went for this team in last. I think Norwich will come bottom. They're a team that are like quite a few other teams where they just kind of yo-yo up and down between dominating the Championship and struggling in the Prem. They're one of them teams that's just in that limbo of too good for one, not good enough for another. So I think it's bottom of the table again because I don't see much changing from when they were last in the division. I think Brentford will struggle their first season in the Prem. I know they've got a new stadium and the fans are back. I just don't see it with... I mean, I watched them in the playoffs and they are a crazy team. Their manager is mental. I can see shades of Pep in there with some of the decisions that he makes sometimes with his tactics. Like having every man in the opposition half for a corner is just baffling. But I can't see much for them. And then I think the shocker for relegation is Southampton. I think it's come out of the blue because they lost Ings out of nowhere. They're going to lose Vestergaard to Leicester. That's almost done. Yep. And there's a possibility they could even lose Ward-Prowse. Now, I think if they lose Ward-Prowse, that's the final nail in the coffin, and they're pretty much set for a relegation scrap at least, probably getting relegated. So I think it'd be tough for them. And then I've gone for just missing out Watford. I think they have a chance of staying up.
I'll go with my bottom now. I have at bottom Watford. I think they're a horribly run club. I think the manager will be sacked by the new year. And, I just can't see it for them. Sarah will end up getting sold either next summer or this January, whatever's going to happen. But I can't see a good future for them. And then just over them, I have Norwich as well. I think that they're very good football team-wise, but, they're losing Buendia. It seems like there's a chance they can lose Cantwell. They've signed Josh Sargent, and there's a very small chance, but I do think they will go down. I think they should be well equipped to go back down and then probably lose their players next year. And then, I've agreed with you. I'm going to go with Southampton in 18th. Like you said, they're losing players here, there, and everywhere. I think James Ward-Prowse will go, whether it be Villa. I saw earlier Tottenham are apparently in touch with looking for creative replacements. So, that could go either way. But I have Brentford staying up. I think they're just that mental that they'll stay up. It'll be like when Huddersfield stayed up that one time. They'll probably go down next season, but I do think they'll stay up. I think they'll play just good enough football to be able to stay up. And now, on that point, we'll get straight into the mid-table. Right, so next up, we'll finish our bottom half of the table. I have Crystal Palace finishing just kind of over the relegation scrap. I think they're after losing a bit of experience, but they should be able to stay up with the signings they've made, like Mark Wehi and Joachim Anderson. I think Brighton then just above them, lacking a striker. They have the XG jokes, all that. They have a good creative force, but they won't have a striker. Well, I believe they won't have a decent striker. They're after bringing in good players like Mwepu from Salzburg, but I do think they'll stay. I think they'll stay up and they'll be fairly steady. Then, Newcastle, Burnley just above them as well. They're very just solid Premier League sides. No matter how much investment goes into them, I can't see them going down. Then after that, Wolves, 12th place. They're very, there's no danger of them going down, but it's just very underwhelming with what's happened. Even with Ruben Neves still there, he's not been shining nearly as much. Raul Jimenez hopefully will come back playing as well as he had been before the injury. Losing Jota, now losing Nuno as well. They had lost Doherty, was a big creative spark for them. It's just the project they're pushing for doesn't seem to be moving anymore. I think they're just going to slide into that little gap of mid-table mediocrity, which is still not bad for a team like Wolves, especially if they can have some building blocks from their owners who still invest. Then, after that, just to finish off my bottom half, I'm going to have Everton. I think it's going to be a very rough atmosphere going on at Everton, what's going on inside the club, be it with their attacking midfielders, one wanting out, the other not playing, and Rafa Benitez getting the height of abuse from Everton fans, which I don't rate at all. I don't think it's good luck for the fans, regardless of what he said in the past. He's here, he's coaching. I think it's time to get over it because he's a great manager, but I can just see it bogging them down. I can see him lasting the season. I don't know about that, but it's going to bog down the club. I don't think they're going to get I don't think they're going to get very near their European aspirations, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar teams from me. I think Brighton in 16th, just about avoiding that relegation scrap. I think, they haven't really pushed on that much. They have lost. They lost their keeper, although Sanchez has come in since they lost Matt Ryan, and he's been pretty good. But again, they're just like a good striker, or at least a decent striker, away from pushing up that table. I've gone for Newcastle, usually steady in the Premier League. I think fairly standard. They're going after Joe Willock, who did well when he was down on loan. I think he'll be enough. St. Maximin is obviously by far and away their best player, so I think they'll be good. And then it's kind of just a bit more boring from there. Burnley, just steady, usually finishing around that sort of bottom half to mid-table. Palace, new manager, be interesting to see how they get on. But, be interesting to see whether they keep Zaha. He always wants to leave, but, I think they'll be all right with or without him. And then I think you had Wolves in 12th as well. Same points, pretty much declining, losing a lot of players. Their manager, Jimenez will be a massive boost when he does come back, but I can't see higher than sort of mid-table. And then I've gone for Leeds. I think that sort of honeymoon period of their first season in the Prem may wear off a little bit, and they'll dip slightly, because I do think Bielsa's a good manager. They do have a good enough squad. I just think a little bit down from what happened last season.
Yeah, it's definitely a chance for it, but I think they're going to do pretty well, and they're going to see that now in the next segment.
Right, Revel, top half of the table. We're getting into some of the bigger teams now. I think I'll start off with, in 10th place, bang on mid-table, I've gone for Everton. I think you mentioned them before, just missing out on the top half. It's not a very nice club to be at the moment. There's a lot of hostility going around in that club. I just wouldn't want to be in that situation right now. I've gone for 9th, Villa. Very good business from them, I have to say, in the summer. They did lose their captain, Jack Grealish, obviously record move, we know all about that. But the players that they've bought with that money have been great. For Ings, Buendia and Leon Bailey, for pretty much the money they got from Grealish, that's 3 players. That's not bad business. And I think if they do get Ward-Prowse, which they are linked to, then they might be able to scrape a European place. You never know. Their business is usually good. Their owners are very good. So I think they'll just miss out. And 8th, I've gone for West Ham. I just think that first season in Europe will just take the wind out of them by that business end of the season in the league, and they'll just miss out on a back-to-back European appearance. And then as for 7th, which is Conference League, just missing out on that top 6, I gone for Arsenal. I think one better than last season, but that is about it. I haven't seen too much of improvements from them. They haven't shifted on their deadwood. I just think another disappointing season ended in more questions over the manager. Whether he'll still be there at that point, who knows?
Yeah, man, so we had a couple of the same teams there and there. I've said for 10th, I've said West Ham. I'm in the same boat as you. I think they'll have the wind completely taken out of their sails. They have a good first team, but I think the backups and the depth of the squad just not going to be able to handle the Thursday nights, providing they get into Europe fully. They're not going to have their first team out for either the European nights or the Sunday game. So, it's going to be I think it could end up being a long drawn out season for West Ham. In 9th, I have Leeds. I do think they're going to go one better than last season. I don't think the second season syndrome is going to hit them at all. I think Bielsa's just going to coach it into them. It's like no complacency. I saw a quote came out earlier, Junior Firpo's commenting on how the coaching there has already been better what he received at Barcelona. That doesn't surprise me at all. Bielsa being a top class manager. After that, I've got Villa. I think they've invested very, very well. I think there's, like Joe said, there's a chance they can end up with Ward-Prowse, although I don't think he will end up there. They can very easily, like Joe said, scrape a European place. And just before them, the team ahead of them, I have Spurs, because on the basis that I think they're going to lose Harry Kane. There's a chance they'll invest money, but we all know how poor they are at recruiting players. I think they'll end up getting Ward-Prowse in after they sell Kane. I think they'll have to get a striker, be it Lautaro Martinez, Vlahovic from Fiorentina. It can be whoever they want. but I think they'll be more so investing for the future rather than doing it now. And yeah, so we're going to get into the top 6 now. Right, so we're getting into our top 6 now. I'm going to start off, and I think Arsenal are going to scrape 6th. I think the defence is going to be a bit more solid with Ben White in there. I think they're going to have a seamless transition between the defence and midfield now. I think they're going to link up a bit better than they did last year. But although there is also the concern of who's going to be leading the line, like we said, Aubameyang, he's been woeful for the last season or two. Lacazette, I don't rate him highly at all, but I do think this will be the season Martinelli can come in and really stake his claim. I think Saka's going to have another great season as well.
Yeah, I think we got our North London clubs mixed around in this one, as you put Spurs in 7th, I put Arsenal in 7th, so I've gone for Spurs in 6th. I just think that they have a more proven manager, although I think Arteta's probably better in the long term. I do rate him as a coach. Right now, Nuno has that proven track record of how well he did at Wolves. They also just do have a better squad. Like, even without Kane, I just think their team player for player, their first team player for player is better. They've done some okay business. I just think, they won't get top 4. I think top 4 is pretty settled for most people. I think it's, fighting for, can they get into the Europa League? Because I know Spurs are in the Conference League, or at least the qualifiers, as of this moment, so they won't take too much priority on that, really. They should be focusing on the league. And then in 5th, just missing out on the top 4, I've gone for their worst nightmare, Leicester. Leicester hate the top 4. They spend all year in it just to finish 5th, because they fall apart in the last 8 games. It's happened the last 2 seasons now, and while they themselves have done some good business, I just think that it's going to be same old for Leicester, and I just think another season in the Europa League, just missing out in the top 4.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Leicester. I'm going to have them finishing 5th for myself. I do think I think they'll go deep in the European campaign, but I don't think it's going to be the same case of spending most of the time in the top 4 and then just dropping out. I think they'll be a steady 5th just for the season. But, I do think they'll put a lot of their eggs in the European basket. And, I don't see why not. They've made investment. I think they're a solid top 6 team now. I don't think they're going to drop out of it very soon. And now this could be a contentious one after this. I'm going to put Liverpool in 4th. A quote came out today from Jurgen Klopp saying that they don't feel the need to invest in any other players, despite losing Gini Wijnaldum during the transfer window, which is just mental that they don't want to replace him. Naby Keita's made a cheese, he's not going to play 38 games of Premier League season, and he's not going to have nearly the impact that Gini Wijnaldum does. But you never know what could happen. With all the transfers going around, Liverpool could end up splashing out here or there. Even go for Ward-Prowse, you never know. But I think they'll just be mainstay. And, I could be wrong. They could end up pushing their defence is back in top order. They've got Kanate in. Questions about his knees and how well they're going to hold up now, because apparently he has very dodgy knees. So that's probably not something that Liverpool fans want to hear. But I do think they'll be in 4th. And I think they'll be a steady 4th. They won't drop out very soon.
I just think this top 4 is nailed on for the 4 teams, unless for major injuries or one of these teams falling apart. I just think I can't say anything different. Although I have gone for a slightly different order. I have gone for United in 4th. I just think that Cavani is their best number 9, and Cavani is, I think, 34. He's not going to be able to play all the games in one season. They are in the Champions League again this upcoming season, so they will be, putting a bit of focus on that. I just think their backup option, Greenwood, is a good talent. And then their other one is just Martial. I think the less said about that, the better, really, as a striker. I know Rashford's had his surgery. He's going to be out for the start of the season. They're still deploying McFred, acting as if they're one player in front of the back 4. They have just signed Varane and Sancho, which is good business. I just don't think it's enough. Their depth is still pretty poor, and they still do need that defensive midfielder to really go and challenge for the league. And in 3rd, I have gone for Liverpool. I just think Van Dijk is enough to, have them solidly in the top 4. I know he's not going to be the same as he was, because an ACL is incredibly difficult to recover from, especially when you're now 30 years old. It's even harder. I just think it's enough to have them solidly in the top 4, and maybe a title race. I think it will be really close this season with the squads going into it. It's set to be down to the wire again. I just think Liverpool will kind of fall away with, like you said, not replacing Wijnaldum.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very close title race. And me saying Liverpool are going to finish fourth, they could still be in the title race come April. You know what I mean? It's such an up in the air league this year. So for me, third, I've gone with United. I'm under the impression that they probably will do a small bit more business after Varane, but if not, I do still think they'll make it third. But like Joe said, their depth isn't brilliant. I think after you take out McFred, you probably have Nemanja Matic as your backup. You can have Van de Beek who can come in, but he won't exactly play a deeper role. Pogba, he only turns up really against City, doesn't he? But it's such a hard one to predict, but I do think United will just kind of stay there, and they'll change places, they'll swap and change with Liverpool over the course of the season. But I don't think it's going to be very. It's not going to be like they won't be very far off the title race, let's just say. And then after United, I've gone with Chelsea. I think Chelsea, they're after bringing in, they're on the verge of bringing in Lukaku, probably going to get Conde as well. We only watched them there in the Super Cup tonight. They looked dodgy, but they didn't have the full team out, and they ended up winning on penalties. But I think they will be a huge threat to City, and obviously knowing that I haven't mentioned City yet, I do think they're going to push them very, very close, be it the last day or close to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with the top two. I've gone for Chelsea second and City first. I'm obviously not going to put City anywhere else. We are on a City fan channel, so if you didn't expect this, then I don't know what you're thinking. Yeah, Chelsea are just Lukaku's massive for them. Proper number 9. We saw how Werner struggled playing that lone striker role. Havertz has now got a season under his belt, so he could be firing. Kante has rediscovered his form to play. Although it is a 5, and it is incredibly frustrating to play against and to watch, it works, and we are in a results business. It does work. The one fear I have regarding if you're a Chelsea fan is if that 5 gets found out, is there a plan B? Because that is the ever-looming threat of Pep's 4-3-3 in his first couple of seasons. That was almost found out, and last season, we had to chop and change. There was inverting fullbacks and a false 9 and, players thrown about here, there and everywhere. So I just think, as time goes on, if Chelsea start to dominate, teams will try and figure out ways to play against that system. And one team will find a breakout way. And I think if there's no solid plan B, they could hit a bit of a hurdle, but I have no doubt Tuchel will manage to find a solution. And then obviously City first. I think we are a striker away from domination. We have everything else set. We have now a good defence, consistent goalkeeper, suits the way we play. Midfield, 2 of De Bruyne and Grealish, 2 of the most creative players in Europe, is frightening. We just need that number 9 to finish off them chances that we create. And I think if we get a Kane, it would be very difficult to see City not at least in the top 2, if not just coming away with the league, because that is just horrifying.
I completely agree. Like I said during our last segment, I do think City will get Kane. I think the Guardiola comments that came out over just before the Community Shield were just so positive, saying that we are interested. It's just like, if we didn't want him, there's no chance he doesn't say that. We saw something on Twitter tonight saying that apparently it could be sped up in the next few days with a 140 million offer, and I'd love to see that happen. Just get it out of the way. It just shows how ruthless we are, and then try offload players. But like Pep said, net spend FC, we've spent 40 million net spend on Jack Grealish so far. So we still have the treasure trove to go on. And like Joe said, we're a number 9 away from total domination. Not even just English domination, European domination. We will win everything if we can get Kane in. Obviously, we already have Jack Grealish in. If we can get Kane in, we will win everything, and I am confident of that. Right, so getting into our individual awards, I think me and Joe are in a complete agreement here. Our player of the year is going to be Sir Harold Kane. He's going to be our player of the year. I think he's going to come in, he's going to score, he's going to get at least 30 goals for the season overall at City, provided we sign him. I think we will sign him. There's nothing going to stop him. English player, he's English. He was overlooked last year. I can't see anything stopping him this time. What you think?
Yeah, I think the only thing that stopped him last year was the finishing position of Spurs. They finished 7th. That was what let him down. England captain, of course, he's going to get more votes, albeit that way. He's going to get more recognition if he does win a trophy while doing it. So it's just when he comes in, I think if he comes in early enough at City, then obviously he's got more chance of winning it because he's got more games to do it. I just think those chances are enough to just... He can hit 30. He can hit 30 easy. And he gets assists as well. He's good at link up. So I just, if those numbers are there at Spurs, then I don't see why not at City. And if you win a trophy, your chances are increased. I mean, just look at De Bruyne. Did he deserve it? There's probably more deserving players in our squad. Yeah. And now there were more deserving players in our squad. But again, he won a trophy. He won the league. So you kind of have to go with it. And then young player of the season is obviously a very dodgy award. A lot of people are unhappy with, the age criteria you can win it in with players with like 100, 150 senior appearances for their clubs being able to win it still because they're under 24. But I've gone for Mason Mount. I think that with Chelsea now being up there to challenge, him being one of England's golden boys, Foden's going to miss the start of the season. He's going to miss the first month. We know that already. He's out for the first month. He could take a while to get back because he hasn't trained, no pre-season. So I think he's already at a disadvantage, and bar injury, I think Mount is up there as one of the favourites, at least for the start of the season anyway.
Yeah, I can see exactly why you do it. I think Chelsea will be challenging. He'll be the starter for them. But I'm going to go with new boy to the Premier League, Jadon Sancho. I think he'll tear up. To be honest with you, I think he'll have the service in the small games, at least with Bruno. He'll be able to score. He'll be able to set up goals. He'll be able to do everything. I think he's going to be class. And you know what? I don't mind him being class. He's a good player. I still don't think United will touch off either City or Chelsea. That's my reason for that. So we'll get into now with the most surprising player, and I could get the stick of this because I think Tottenham, they're going into their little season of fun where they're going to start their rebuild, hopefully selling Kane, getting a few young players in here and there, and it's going to open the door back up for Dele Alli. It's going to open him back up for him to come in. He's going to, I think, whether he scores 10 goals, gets 10 assists, whatever, I do think he's going to improve, and I do think he's going to surprise plenty of people because he has that ability. He has that natural ability to just go with it. And I think if he's handed the keys again, he has someone one side, probably a new striker in front of him. And, I think give him the keys that and he'll just be able to go with it.
I mean, I'm going to get stick for mine as well because I think you said when you were mentioning this club in particular that their forward options just aren't that good. I've gone for Lacazette. I just think that if Aubameyang starts in awful form again, then it opens the door wide open. Martinelli's still on holiday. He won Olympic gold, so he's not there. Is he going to start Willian? They don't have any other option bar him and Aubameyang to play up front, really, unless they throw an Nketiah up there or even a Balogun. I just think that right now he's probably a better fit than Aubameyang. Aubameyang had a horrid preseason from what I heard. Just think that, if they both start, Lacazette will start up front. So, I don't know, he's going into the last year of his contract. He's fighting for his future, potentially, with only having 12 months left. So I think he could throw a surprise, at least for his standards anyway, like double digits for goals, few assists, guiding Arsenal back into Europe. I think that'll be classed as a surprise. And then for the last one, the most disappointing player of the season. I think it's a hard award to choose because disappointing more implies on either a new player coming into the league that you had high expectations for, or someone having an absolute stinker all year round. And I'm going to get even more stick for this one because I've gone for Patson Daka at Leicester. For some reason, I can see it. They are playing two up top right now with Vardy and Iheanacho. I just think, if he starts over Kelechi, which he could do, Vardy's obviously nailed on to start. But if he starts next to Vardy and has a rocky 3 games, you could see Iheanacho come in and bag a penalty or something or a goal, and then he'd be bench warming for another few games, and if none of them work, you could see them going back to a 4 and playing one up top. And if there's going to be one striker up top, you would have thought it was Vardy. So I just think, they didn't pay the most in the world for Daka. I just think for everyone's high expectations of him in the future, I think his first season could be a bit of a disappointing one.
Yeah, no, I can see why you'd say that. I think he'll come in and he'll already be tour choice. I think Nacho, I'm not sure how good his preseason was, but he obviously took away the penalty against City. Vardy, undroppable really, isn't he? For now. On my most disappointing now, like Joe, I'm probably going to get a bit of stick for this. Mine's going to be Marcus Rashford, and it's not for the reason you think. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a very good player, but he's after coming off a solid 2 years, no break of football. He's coming off surgery as well, and he'll miss start of the season. I think it's going to be a rocky one for him, especially with Sancho coming in. I think Greenwood's really going to break out this season. And, they will need someone to come in for when, like Joe said, when Cavani kind of needs a rest. And I don't think Rashford's going to be able to do it for it this season. Now, could that mean he only needs a break? Of course he needs a break. The man's been doing nothing. He's been doing everything non-stop. He's been working politically. He's been working on his football game. I think the man's tired. He just needs a break. He's been in that surgery for a long time now, and I really do think that he's just going to have a down season. So that was myself and Joel's Premier League predictions for the season. Let us know what you would change, and let us know your individual awards. If you liked it, leave it a like, share it around with your mates, comment, all that good stuff. We're trying to hit 400 subscribers as soon as possible. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one.